No, not a freaking ads. Really? Wait a minute. I pay for this not to happen. God dang it. Lovely. There we go. No, seriously, I freaking make sure that the crap doesn't happen. Anyway, here. Have this. Hang on a second, guys. This thing's playing ads like crazy, dude. It's like 2 ads after every freaking song. I gotta fix this. Give me 1 second. The stream's gonna be quiet for a second. Alright, well, should be working. See. See what it does.
tonight, some in summer, some in winter, but wherever you are in the world, the swimsuit segment will be sure to warm your hearts.
Our first group, our first stop, will be on the grounds of the world-famous National Palace Museum, which houses Chinese treasures dating back some 4,000 years.
Well, let's hit the road.
Stupid freaking things. So, you know, if it plays some ads during the stream, sorry guys. Freaking piece of junk. Okay. All right.
Discovery, go throttle
let me go get my coffee and we'll go from there. Hey, Henry. Thanks for the resub. I'll be back in a second. All right. How much water do I have? Oh, damn it. Give me 1 second. This is horrible. What a terrible start. Okay. All right. We need a song to get us in to get it to yeah, here. How about what do we want? Yes. This is the part where the ad is playing. Oh boy. Unskippable ads. Look at how much fun these people are having. Oh, it's just, oh, it touches my heart. Get the frick off the screen! Oh. Alright.
Limited edition enamel pins.
There we go.
Now. Buy yours.
See, there's the Sully G. There's the Sully G thing. Here we go. There we go. There we go. Perfect. Need a wide Kerman? Yes. There's so much delay. Wide Jebbo happy? Yeah, here, let me turn this off. Wide Jeb happy? One Jeb happy. Is that eruption? Yes. Here, no, we need to, hold on. There's a delay on the headphones again, man. of tune, just a teeny bit. It's getting there. Oh, Tom, that's the number. That's the number. That's that. Here, how about we do a little bit of this? Need a looper? Yeah, right? Oh, that's really out of tune. That was terrible. I broke the dam. It's nobody's fault but mine, man. I have to tune it, but I don't feel like doing that right now. We could always play the drums. We could always drum. You know I have that, right? We can do it.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
I just gotta change the headphones here so I can still listen. There we go. Ah! Doo-doo caca pee pee! Doo-doo caca poo poo pee pee! I gotta mute the mic so you don't feedback. Alright, ready? What should we play? Alright, I got one. What's the name of the weird instrument? It's an automaton. Maybe we could here. Okay, we're not gonna take it as a little bit different, Ben. Hold on. It's you gotta play the toms. I don't think it's those toms. I think it's the low toms too. This is our life. This is our song. can't sing and play that one. Ah, I missed. Nice rolls. Thanks. That's a little loud. Hang on. All right. One more and then we'll start Space News. Yeah, they're electronic drums, Alucard. Air conditioner. We can shut that for a second. I think that's right. That sounds right. Oh, turned on the metronome. Yeah, Altio, welcome to my freaking life, dude. There's a delay going through the Behringer. Oh, dude, it sucks. Can't freaking deal with it. Seven Nation Army? Isn't that easy? We were talking about Alice in Chains earlier, so I was freaking wanted to play that. Here, I'll mute the mic so you guys can hear it better. Isn't it just do, 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 do? No, I don't think I have a delay on the Behringer. I'd have to look. I don't think there's a delay. I don't see any delay here. I don't even think there's a knob for it. Huh. Nice, Dom. That's awesome. All right. One more, and then we'll go. I got to figure out what we want to play. We will rock you? All right. That's all there is to it, man. I don't know. Any other classic rock? War Pigs? Okay, I can play that. All right. My foot isn't working correctly. Hold on. Yeah, I'm gonna have to play it with the mic open. How does War Pigs start? I forget. Generals gathered in their masses. No, it's not Tom to Crash. It's just. Let's just get to the. It goes down, down, down. I dropped the stick. And then or is he playing the ride? Yeah, the delay. Dude, that's what I'm talking about. I swear. I'm better at this than the stream lets on because there's this nasty delay between the Behringer and what I'm hearing. Dude, it's so so I'm playing with like a 3 millisecond delay, and it sucks. It's like listen, ready? Yeah, it's pretty bad, dude. Every time I play the guitar, dude. Every time I play the guitar on stream, that's what I'm dealing with. It's horrible. Yeah, it's really bad. You're just lagging. My brain, maybe. Need to update the firmware. There are electric drums, yeah. Okay, one more and then we'll go. Yeah, Dave, I know. Here, I'll just solo something for like the next minute, and then we'll go from there. I freaking dropped the stick, man. Oh, God, do I suck. Okay, we'll do Space News now. Is this the drum solo from the end of Step Brothers? Yeah. Rock the frick out of those drums, Dale! I'm sorry. It's an electric kit, guys. I can't hear anything. Man. No, I'm playing with a single pedal, Dave. Here. Maybe this one. Maybe somebody recognizes this one. I don't think I could play it, but I'll try. I can't do it. I can't do it. I am sweating from this now. So I'm going to turn the air conditioner on and then we'll go. That was terrible. Boy, am I rusty. That's bad. That's really bad. That was terrible. I keep dropping the sticks and stuff, man. That means you're going too fast. Too fast. Too furious. Okay, let me put the screen back up. Ugh, terrible. I'm freaking out of shape. Start the reactor, free EJ. Boy, do I suck. Freaking terrible. Just terrible. Just god awful. Okay. Hi. How are you? Here. You playing the drums? Oh, I was watching Cops. Shark Week. Just licking some space. Probably duplicates. I could use a beer today, man. Okay. This is what everybody wants to see, so we'll go to it. Okay. Just moving all the links over. We got a Tory time lapse in there. That's nice. There's the upper. Oh, geez, that tweet from the upper stage, though. Well, not from the upper stage. Tweet of the upper stage. That's pretty cool. Then we have Kem coming in hot with the Russian news. Like some big Chunguska. Yeah. Hey, I was watching Cops. Did you put your nuts on my drum set? I know you messed with my drum set. There's a chip in one of the sticks. How do we watch the Chinese action? We don't. Tell me why I must be a power slave. Nice, Fizz. How's my day been? Good. Hey, it's Fizz. What's going on? New haircut? You'll definitely win that case. Oh. Yes. Never mind the fact that you can literally see right through it, right to my scalp. That's good. You know, it's good. It's real good. All right. I'll move that over there. Russian news first. All right, let's see what we got. Ah, yes. The Vettel hairline. Yeah, I know. Really pulling that off. Really looks good. Oh, yeah. Gum? Yeah. Oh, thank you for reminding me. You're gonna die. Die with your boots on. Yeah, you're gonna die. Sorry, I've been on a Maiden kick lately. Yeah, Dave, I was playing. That's all with a single pedal, dude. I heel toe, like Bonham style. I don't need a double bass. So there is a term, huh? Yeah. Oh, well, that's good, Prey. It's just a teaser for when I become bald, you know. All right, let's space news. Let's go quickly. So, Kosmodrom Vostochny Vozchev? He just hairs the Amazon rainforest. Well, hopefully we plant a lot back. Enjoy your last haircuts. Okay, so the Fregat upper stage has been... Yeah, okay. Kosmodrome Vostochny is in full swing preparing for the launch, which is scheduled for the end of May. Experts have completed fueling of the Fregat upper stage with fuel and gases. There you go. Nice. I was never able to learn to heel toe. Yeah, here, check it out. So I can... Here. It's hard to do like here, but ready? Freaking pedal cam comes in handy more than you think. All right, cool. So this is for one web launch here. Let's see. Cosmodrome Baikonur. Idiot. No. Nodrotovka. SpaceX just tweeted. Of course they did. So Progress MS-17. Okay, so the carrier rocket Soyuz 21A is carrying Progress MS-17 on the... That's not May. I don't know what month is that. I don't know what month that is. It's on the 30th of a month in the year 2021. Yeah, okay, that's June. Alright, cool. Baikonur Cosmonauts preparations for the spacecraft is underway for Progress MS-17 to be launched under the program of the 78th supply mission to the International Space Station. Yeah, MKS. Alright. Launch of the carrier rocket Soyuz 21A with the Progress MS-17 transport vehicle is scheduled for June 30th, 2021. What's SpaceX's tweet? What did they say? Targeting Saturday, May 15th at 6:54 p.m. for the Starlink launch. Okay. Falcon 9 will send to orbit 52 Starlink satellites, a Capella synthetic aperture radar SAR satellite in TIVAC 0130. Okay. Cool. All right, let's see what we got here.
Грузового корабля «Прогресс МС-17». Специалисты провели осмотр. На космодроме Байконур началась подготовка транспортного грузового корабля «Прогресс МС-17». Специалисты провели осмотр и контроль исходного состояния бортовых систем, а также выполнили подготовку корабля к электроиспытаниям и проверке герметичности. Пуск ракеты-носителя «Союз-2-1А» с транспортным грузовым кораблем «Прогресс МС-17» запланирован на 30 июня 2021 года.
He said exactly what he said, what the tweet says. Well, yeah, we'll see if the antenna... Yeah, Yep. Okay.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Golda. Alright, cool. Next news here. Okay, so this is back at the Vostochny Cosmodrome. Okay, what is this? Final integration of the carrier rocket Soyuz 21B, which is the cargo version. They're getting ready to put 36 OneWeb satellites on top. And it'll launch on the 27th of May. I think I got most of that. Hold on. Preparations begin for the launch vehicle, which will launch 36 British OneWeb communication satellites into orbit. The upcoming launch should bring the number of OneWeb satellite in space to 218. Ah, that's the sentence I missed. The launch is scheduled for May 27th. Cool. Big C. 4-month resub. Thanks, man. All right, let's take a look. Probably going to say the same exact thing. Let's see.
Специалисты космодрома «Восточный» приступили к подготовке ракеты-носителя.
Специалисты космодрома Восточный, specialists at the Eastern Space Center. Yeah. That's pretty sure that's what he said.
Специалисты космодрома «Восточный» приступили к подготовке ракеты-носителя «Союз-2-1Б», которая выведет на орбиту 36 британских спутников связи OneWeb. Новые аппараты уже доставлены на космодром. Предстоящий запуск должен довести количество спутников OneWeb до 218. Следите за нашей трансляцией пуска. Старт ракеты-носителя запланирован на 27 мая.
Maya. 27th of May. Got it. All right, what else do we got? Final decision on the project to the Russian Super Henny. Okay. The final decision on the project for Russia's Yenisei Super Heavy rocket will be made at the end of 2021, said RSC Progress Director Dmitry Baranov. The technical design may contain more options than the already finished preliminary design. Huh. Something like that, Kyle. Couple more months and you will not see difference between Russian manned and Aegis. Yes. That's a big fairing. I like it. Very nice. Tom, yeah. Yeah, no, I hear you, man. I hear you. All right, so. Nope. Yeah, I don't know what that means. So that's NPO Progress. They're working on Soyuz 5. Just like on Soyuz, the core is narrow, but the fairings are much bigger. Yep. Yeah. Cave, what cave? It's gone now. Yeah. Alright, so in workshops on MPO progress, work continues on manufacturing the new launch vehicle Soyuz 5. Welding of the first stage oxidizer tank has now been completed. The performed X-ray inspection confirmed the absence of defects in the execution of the seam welds. Yep, stir welded. They got the stir welding going over there. That's why they X-ray the welds. One of the reasons. Is Falcon 9 taller than the Soyuz? Yep. By about an upper stage length, fellows. Soyuz is a small rocket. It's a small rocket, but it's a medium duty launch vehicle. So Soyuz is something like Antares, somewhere around there. That would be the Western kind of equivalent. Demon, you'd X-ray the normal welds too? Right on. Oh, wait, is it stir welded? Hold on, let me take a look. Demon, what do you think? Nope. Well, yeah, it is. That's stir welding, for sure. The worm booster will fly the next Starlink mission. Yeah, there you go. Oh, that guy's got the safety squints going. I don't know. I can't tell. The glare kind of makes it hard to tell. I can't tell if that's a bead or if it's a scuff mark from the stir welding. I know Angara is stir welded, but I'm not sure about Soyuz 5. I mean, that just looks like a MIG welder to me. Either that or that's the X-ray. All I'm saying is you would X-ray either. Well, it's good to know. What is... Fellas, what does that say right there? Helium. Huh. Yeah, pi power maybe. Yeah. So, helium. Helium for the welder. I know it's a MIG, yeah, no. No, you'd use, I mean, you could use helium for MIG welding, sure, why not? It's inert, it'll be fine. Helium makes for better pen and aluminum with MIG. There you go. Alright, cool. Helium for funny voices, yeah, so. The rocket that nurses Soyuz 1B. Helium is for balloons. Nearly, are you saying that Dimitri is full of air? Saying he's full of hot air? Is that what you're trying to tell me? I have it, Phil, yeah. I'll watch it later, dude. Alright. So that's going to do it for the Russian news. Let's see what else we got. So, they didn't lift SN-15 because of wind yesterday, guys. So they did lift it today, and it is back on the pad, but it's on pad B this time around, but yeah, okay. Yeah, there you go. Do you even lift, bro? We'll look more. We'll check more of that later. All right, so this one is coming from Blue Origin. Let's see. The RSS First Step crew capsule is built with multiple layers of redundancy. We tested these systems over 15 consecutive successful New Shepard missions, so astronauts can be safe in every phase of flight. Bid for the first seat. Okay, let's see. What video do we have?
Human safety is fundamental to design, but especially the crew capsule.
The capsule is the most highly redundant and safe space flight system that has ever been designed or flown. We have redundancy that if a system fails, you have a backup system, and in most cases, you have a backup to the backup system. The capsule is designed to be safe. Only 2 of the main parachutes open, and so we wanted to test that in real life on M5, and it worked perfectly. Now, if the capsule is going down way too fast, the retro rocket actually compensates by adjusting the amount of thrust. Our 3rd and 4th safety systems engage, which is a crushable section. Then the seats have a scissor mechanism that has further energy absorption. The capsule has an escape system designed in case there is something wrong detected on the propulsion module to get the astronauts away to safety.
From the
Note
moment
that he
that
said
we close the
astronauts.
hatch, we can go escape enabled and have very high confidence that we can keep people safe.
The overall mission of Blue Origin has remained completely the same. We are here to safely build the road to space.
Huh. Alright. Yeah, just a little bit, Dave. Yeah. Interesting. Alright. So we got a Tory time lapse coming from Tory Bruno. This was a little earlier today. Sibber's Geo 5 was loaded up onto Atlas 5 here. There you go. Yeah, that doesn't suck. Space-based infrared satellite. New Shepard was a car, it'd be a Volvo. Cool. Mobile service tower is awesome. That's so cool. Can you imagine if this was your office? Actually, that's not a mobile service tower. That's the vehicle integration facility. It's a VIF. It doesn't move. If all goes well, this will be my first launch I see in real life. Sibbers? Right on, right on. First flight of the RL-10C11. Nice. Cool. All right. So this next one's coming from Relativity. I don't know what I'm looking at here, so let's take a look. We recently finished building our latest structural test stand. We'll use this to apply forces to the printed structures in order to simulate the thrust and aerodynamic loads that happen during flight. Yeah, all right. That's a gantry crane. It is a gantry crane. It's okay. It's okay. It's not bad. Cool. Oh, jig plate. Is it 3D printed too? I don't know. I don't think so. That doesn't look 3D. That doesn't look to be 3D printed. That's steel, man. Oh, it's just an optical illusion. I thought that one of those supports was... I thought that the crane was mounted on this thing, and I'm like, guys, one of your supports is floating. Like, look at it from over here. You look at it, it looks like it's bent. I'm like, what is that? You saw an older stored 79 Ranger on the interstate today. Nice. Those are nice trucks. Yeah, yeah, exactly. They are pretty big. The ladder is a giveaway for your scale. Oh, they blurred something. They blurred something out. Interesting. Okay, cool. All right, the next thing is coming from Mike Sheets over at CNBC. It's, Thomas Pesquet. Watch this. It's hiding behind the clouds, but watch.
Wonder if Station can grab some pictures of us of our launch, like Christina did that one time.
Gee.
Is it just one?
You guys know what that is? I'm gonna guess oxidizer, judging by the clouds that come out the bottom, Prey. It's the upper stage. So this is from the Dragon capsule. This is from Thomas Pesquet, right? And this is on his Twitter or on his Flickr right here. Excuse me. Check this out. This is from the Dragon capsule after they launched into orbit. That's the second stage that moved them into space. It's aliens, yeah. I'm not saying it was aliens, but it was aliens.
Of our launch, like Christina did that one time.
Yeah, Pixel for sure. That's something you don't see every day. The heck, show the Flickr one. Alright. Flickr's player is dog crap. What do you want from me?
Wonder if Station can grab some pictures of us of our launch.
Yeah, I wonder.
Wonder if Station can grab some pictures of us of our launch, like Christina did that one time.
Everybody else is sitting there talking. I could just imagine Tama going, this is awesome. Full screen, go brrr. Yeah, here, there's your full screen. See? Yeah. Isn't that nice? That's pretty cool. You know what's crazy about this? The clouds look so damn close to the ground from up here. Like, you look at the clouds, you can see the shadow. You're like, oh, all right, that ain't that far off. I mean, those aren't that far off the ground. Yes, they are. They're like, yes, they are high off the ground. Absolutely. I mean, they're a couple thousand feet. Easy. Well, I mean, it depends on the cloud, but... Oh, that's South Ponder. That's a different thing. We don't want that. We don't want that yet. Thank you, Thomas.
Wonder if Station can grab some pictures of us of our...
I wonder. Yeah, it's got a spark igniter. Prey, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, Prey, it's got to be oxidizer first. You know why? The oxidizer power pack's gonna spin faster. Raptor has two independent power packs, right? You have two separate power heads like the shuttle engine, right? The oxidizer has to spin faster because you have to deliver more oxidizer, right? I mean, to get the right ratios. Am I thinking about this correctly? So it's got to be oxidizer first. That's pretty freaking cool. Not Space News that I got a picture of your favorite Mustang in the wild. Yeah, you're right. It isn't. Dick. Yeah, here's the picture that he posted a little while ago. How about that? Dat nozzle, though. Now, the real question is, does SpaceX have pictures of the Dragon capsule from the second stage cameras? Wondering because if you watch some early Starship flights, you get green flashes on ignition that would usually dissipate. Oxidizer lead ignition explains that. I would say so, yeah. Yeah, I'm with you on that one. It's good. Yeah. So it was very clear that they didn't get the mixture right on early Raptors because they were shooting out green flames and melting the copper lining, right? So they must run oxidizer first. Yeah, either that or they changed it. Yeah, that's a good eye. Yeah, you're right. They did do that. I kind of just said, ha, they fixed it. Ha, 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 fix it, go burr. Orbital Starship flight dependent on environmental impact assessment. All right, so yesterday SpaceX announced that, well, not announced, they didn't actually announce anything. Yesterday, an FCC report was filed for telecommunications for launching a rocket that's about the size of Starship, right? Out of Boca Chica, Texas, going on orbit and landing in Hawaii. The orbital, wouldn't call it an orbital flight test, but more of an experimental flight test. It looks like SpaceX, from what we could tell from the document, that they want to test, out, what is word? They want to test out the heat shield because they can't get, there's some data that they can't get from computational simulations. So they're gonna do an orbital test, but this orbital test is just to understand the heat shield. So this Starship probably isn't gonna look that much different to starships that you see now. Only just with more tiles. If I had to guess, like it's not gonna look like a space shuttle, you know? What's that tweet from Elon? We need to make sure the ship won't break up on re-entry, hence deorbit over the Pacific. Wow, Elon replied to Scott. Cool. Yep, it's a heat shield test, just as I thought. I mean, it basically explained it in the damn document, but just as I thought, huh? Yeah, right. All right, let's see. SpaceX has disclosed the details for the first orbital flight test of its next generation space launch system. So this is coming from Jeff Faust over at Space News. There's the FCC filing. Okay. As outlined in the application, the Super Heavy booster will shut down 169 seconds after liftoff, separating from the Starship upper stage 2 seconds later. Super Heavy will fly back, not to Boca Chica, but instead to a location 20 miles off the shore in the Gulf of Mexico, touching down 495 seconds after liftoff. The application didn't state if the booster would land on a platform such as an oil rig SpaceX is converting for such uses, or splash down in the ocean. Starship, which ignites its engines 5 seconds after separation, will shut down its engines 521 seconds after liftoff, having achieved orbit. The vehicle, though, will complete less than one full orbit before entering and landing in the Pacific Ocean 100 kilometers northwest of the Hawaiian island of Kauai. Kauai. Disney. Approximately 90 minutes after liftoff. Yeah. Yep. Super Heavy puts that nearly all the way into orbit, then boosts back. Yeah. Interesting. I had to. I don't want to know what that is, 30. EJ troll face. Yes! No, you didn't have to. You're doing God's work, son. You're doing God's work, son. Good for you, Cole Phelps. $30. Hey, can I use that? Are we good? Can we use that? Can we use that? I gotta get your permission first. It's so bad. Absolutely made it in the sizes already. You're doing God's work, Cole Phelps. Good for you. That's so stupid. Not you, 30. My freaking face. It's so stupid. Oh my god. Okay, the application notes that SpaceX will perform a power-targeted landing, but not on any kind of ship. Instead, it will make a soft ocean landing. The application did not specify where the company expects to perform this launch beyond a 6-month request period of operation. Yep. SpaceX can't carry out the launch, though, until it receives a license from the FAA, the FAA's Office of Commercial Space Transportation. That license will depend on the status of an ongoing environmental assessment of the Starship Super Heavy launch operations from Borkercheeker, which fall outside the scope of the original EIR statement prepared when SpaceX planned to use the site for its Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy vehicles. Okay, so SpaceX filed an application. They want to do this, but they haven't gotten the paperwork done. But we're not anywhere near that actually happening right now. That doesn't, keep in mind, take into account how fast SpaceX goes, right? Take into account how fast SpaceX goes. We're not near there just yet. The booster will splash down in the water. No legs will be on the vehicle. If it stays intact, they could tow it to the port of Brownsville. Cool.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Caltech, 41 months. Alright, let's go over here. Sliss News, yes. Check out this fly-on-the-wall footage inside of the vehicle assembly building at NASA Kennedy and get a front row seat to SLS core stage processing for the launch of Artemis 1. Orange rocket, good. Orange rocket, good. Coltec, I sent you a message. Oh, that's awesome. Coltec, I shot you a message on Discord. I need you to answer it immediately. That right there is the 2.5 to 1 meter adapter plate. It's a pizza plate, Wookie. It is. It's a giant pizza plate. So what this actually is just a cap to prevent foreign object debris from getting inside to the forward skirt. Pulling it up, right on. Is that mold? No, 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 no. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is, to be honest with you. Well... well, yes, but actually, no. It is in Florida, dudes. Alright. Okay. If you don't live in Florida, you wouldn't know this. Scum gets everywhere. Everywhere in Florida. Everywhere. Roads, sidewalks, any equipment you leave outside, scum will grow on it. It's not mold. It's just dirt. It's just scummy dirt, and you need to pressure wash stuff all the freaking time. It's flag fluid. Aha, yes. 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 Flag fluid. Yeah, yeah, so fellas, if you're not from Florida, dude, it's like a petri dish down there. Scum will grow everywhere. Like everywhere. You don't wash, you got to wash your driveway in Florida like every year or two. Yeah, the phlegm and the schleem. Why is SLS orange? Why is it orange? Well, actually, yeah, the orange. So that's spray-on foam insulation. Alleviate. You ever have a cup and then you have the foam that goes around it, and the koozie, it keeps your beer or beverage warm or cold. Florida, wretched hive of scum and villainy. I love Florida, man. Yeah, it's that for the rocket. It's got a koozie on it. It's spray-on foam insulation. What does that do? Well, it keeps the propellants cold. Whenever, you know good and well, whenever you're dealing with hydrogen, it's a big pain in the butt, right? So what do you do to not make hydrogen turn to gas? You keep it cool. So you keep it cool and you actually get more performance this way. Well, not more performance. You have less boil off. So they have the spray-on foam insulation, and that keeps the propellants cool so the shuttle engines can make high-quality H2O. Jobs program news. I will throw my shoe at you. Oh, really? Who throws his shoe? You fight like a woman. Less boil off does lead to better performance. Always. Yeah, Coltec, I thought you'd appreciate that. Yeah, you'll get more Delta V out of it. Now, the spray-on foam insulation was originally there from the shuttle's external tank. The reason why they put this spray-on foam insulation, or SOFI for short, the reason why they put it on there is because they didn't want ice accumulating on the external tank. They didn't want ice accumulating on the external tank and then coming off and hitting the shuttle's thermal protection system. Yeah, let's say that that was a pretty good guess that you didn't want that. That was, yeah, that I'd say that's fair. Yeah, you don't want stuff hitting that. What is happening with the Mars copter? They're still flying it around, dude. Oh yeah. So this is footage of them doing what they're doing is refurbing the stage from the green run. They're finishing the final refurbishments, and then they're going to take this cap off, the white cap. And what they're going to do is put this not this one. They're going to put a yellow one on here. If we go to images.nasa.gov and we go to SLS Pathfinder, then after they get it refurbed, they're going to do this with it. Well, no, that's from the green run. Never mind. We don't want that one. We need the VAB. VAB stuff. Where are you, VAB? So there's the other cap right there, right? And then where are you? Then they're gonna do that. Oh yeah. This makes me a happy EJ. And then they're going to do that. Oh, yes. Yes. So if you're wondering what this is Gray Rocket. So that's an SLS Pathfinder. It's a Pathfinder testing article, and they use that to basically test out the integration and make sure the integration works. It looks like it. You know, it's exactly like the SLS core stage in every way. Except that it's not. Actually, other than the slight insulating property it'll have prior to launch, what's the point of the spray-on foam insulation now? It's just added mass reducing delta V. Well, it keeps the propellants cold, Tessa. So it actually, I mean, okay, Tessa, I can't prove this for sure. I don't have any numbers behind it. But the reason why they probably kept it, I'm gonna go out on a limb here. The reason why they probably kept it is because the performance gains outweigh the performance loss that you get from all the extra mass. Just a guess. Because why the heck else would it be on there otherwise? Right? It's not orange. Yeah, no, you're right. It's not. It's not. So yeah, they're gonna put the cap on here, and then they'll grab it with the crane, and then they're gonna take this thing vertical, and they're gonna stack it. And I'll tell you, seeing this thing stacked with some SRBs on the side is gonna be pretty cool, man. And it's gonna happen a lot sooner than you think. So right now, this is in the VAB transfer aisle and processing area. This is the processing area part of the transfer aisle. This is basically where you refurb everything, you get it ready to go, and then you move it that way into the main transfer aisle where the gantry crane can pick the thing up, and it can move it into one of 4 high bays inside of the VAB. This one's going into high bay 3 because that's where the mobile launcher is with the SRBs stacked. This thing is going to hang on the SRBs. The 2 SRBs are the only part of SLS that touches the pad. There's 4 bolts on each SRB, and then there's 5 segments for the booster, and then at the very top segment you have 2 pins sticking off the side, and SLS is hanging from those pins. Yeah. From sheer inertia of procedure, yeah, but see, from sheer inertia of procedure, what procedure? They haven't had anything in there with spray-on foam insulation in 10 years. There's no procedure left. Tessa, you know how I know? Because I know all the people that got laid off after the shuttle program. Seriously though, they laid off like 3,000 people after Atlantis landed. The day after, like 3,000 people found a pink slip. Nice. Save $30 billion though, right? Am I right, guys? Screw those people, right? They don't need jobs, right? It's like I've read stuff. It's estimated that like 10,000 people got pink slips after the shuttle program stopped. 10,000 jobs. And then you know what's even crazier, Tessa? I heard this from one of my buddies that worked on the shuttle program. One of my buddies that worked on the shuttle program, and he also worked on the Ares 1X launch. He's in here from time to time, but I won't say who it is. They canned everyone. Like, they cleaned shop with the shuttle program, and then they hired new people to do this. Like, any processes that carried over from the shuttle to SLS, because it's a shuttle-derived launch vehicle, they hired new people for. I'm not making that up. Yeah. There's a reason why that 30 billion pisses me off, man. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Thanks for the gift subs in Mick's channel today. No problem, Bonesy. Mick deserves it, dude. I love that guy, dude. Freaking, he's the best, dude. I love watching his streams. Bonesy, I don't go seeking out many other streamers. Like, I don't do that because I usually don't have the time. I watch Mick's VODs. I watched him sandblast Bessie's frame the other day. Oh, so cool. Mick's the freaking man, dude. Great, now I'm mad. Nah, don't get mad. Don't get mad. Don't get mad. Don't get mad. Yeah, but you know what I mean. I do, Tessa. Yeah, I do. Well, any other time, dude, I would be like, yeah, I know it. But with rockets, you generally don't want to change the formula too much, or else you don't launch a rocket for 10 years. Yeah, Bonesy, Mad Ford is an awesome, awesome stream. Mick should be getting like double or even triple the viewers he should. And that's why I support it. Bonesy, I with streamers, dude, I vote with my wallet. Any streamer that you see me say like, oh, go check out their stream or go check them out if you like what I do with this, that I'm not just saying that to hold my breath, dude. I don't plug streamers that I don't watch. Like, I'm serious. I really don't. Like, and that might seem like, oh, dude, you're gatekeeping streaming. No, not at all. Not at all. I just, it's the viewers. It's demographics, dude. I want to show streams on here that I think you guys would like. And how do I figure out what you guys like? Well, Mick, for instance, if you like the truck streams, Mick is 1,000 times better at working on a car on stream than I am. You probably should go watch him working on his stuff instead of mine. You know? I try to promote good content. That's all. That won't stop me from raiding one person or another every once in a while. But yeah, you know, Mick's awesome. I love that content, and I support streamers that I vote with my wallet, basically. Plus, I want to get car content big on Twitch, Bonesy, just because. I bet you even with the slight warmth of the fuel, and I doubt they'd lose much to heat with the constant fuel purge, there's got to be at least a couple tons of spray-on foam insulation on there. Dude, spray-on foam insulation is extremely light. I know somebody that does thermal for the SLS program. Dude, I know a lot of different people around the industry. And this is not a dude, trust me. I'll have them come in here and tell you about it if you want.
Yeah, Ando, that's basically what I mean. Cheers. Yeah. Even if the stuff's light as air, it'll be a couple tons. Yeah, I mean, I could get someone in here to explain why if you really want, like... I'll wait until the guy comes around, Tess, if you want to know. Trust me, man, it's not just, oh, that's how we've always done it. Trust me, it's not. The reality of this situation, you really want to know, is that to get that damn space shuttle into space, you needed almost as much power as a Saturn V because it's a flying frigging brick, right? So the foam isn't that much of a big deal comparatively to the shuttle. If you take a shuttle stack and you take the shuttle out of the equation, foam becomes negligible, man. I don't think, dude, with the right upper stage, I don't think people genuinely realize how much an SLS can move into space. Guys, even with SLS Block 1 with the dinky ICPS on top, you guys know that you could stack 4 more Orions on top of that ICPS and it'll get that into space. I don't know how you do it. SLS, provided that it could take the mass, right? It could take the mass of this heavy of a payload. Well, it obviously can. SLS, I don't know how you do this. You could put NASA, you could take Discovery, and you could put Discovery on top of an SLS core stage. Okay? With its engines, fully fueled, with an Orion capsule inside of its payload bay. The SLS core stage in the 5-segment SRBs could get that into space. Full stop. The Block 1 version of SLS can move 100 tons to low Earth orbit. 100 tons. That's 220... Wait, how much is that? So 100 tons is what, 100,000 kilograms? Yeah, 220,000 pounds. Okay. Sinerda, what's going on? Can you get someone who will explain when hop? Wookie, actually, all the SpaceX people that watch the stream, I don't bug them for information ever. So I actually can't. There are employees that watch the stream, but I don't say, hey, how's work or anything like that. I don't do that because the second I do that, they'll start getting a ton of people DMing them on, hey, what's Elon doing? Hey, what's SpaceX up to? Hey, what are you working on right now? I don't do that anymore. Yeah, it's out of respect. So yeah, if you work in the aerospace industry, you're watching the stream, even if you let me know, I'm still not gonna ask you. I want my information basically unsolicited. I won't solicit information because that's messed up, and I especially won't do it on stream. Yeah, Caveman. 4 Orions. Dude, Block 1's rated at 100 tons to orbit, man. 100 tons, like, that's the space station. The space station, well, no, the space station probably weighs a little bit more than that, but still. Drummer, literally no lag. And we demolished blocks. We had 28 people on the server. Look, we started working on the right-of-way for the railroad. We had 28 people on the server, and we had a conduit, and we leveled this entire area. And we probably moved, I don't know, about 1,500 blocks. 1,500 blocks worth of stuff. No lag, nothing. Swamp reclamation is going great. Yep, you guys are doing great. This is going to be awesome. Yeah, you guys do really... I mean, Drummer, this lot is insane. We should start a freaking construction company, man. We'd have skyscrapers built in like 20 minutes. Well, we're basically gonna do that in Minecraft, but I digress. Wait, Wiki says that SLS can take max 46 tons to Leo. How so? What are you talking about, Monica? The Wiki says that? No, I will tell you this right now. The Wiki is wrong. I will tell you this right now. No, you can move the baseline. One can move 100 tons into orbit. I know that for a fact. I'm looking through infographics. I'll get it for you. They uprated it. It was originally 70 tons in the baseline configuration, but throughout the program, they've upgraded it. NASA's uprated it through doing the green run testing. This thing right here, that one. I'm not misspeaking. This sucker right there, 100 tons to Leo.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
No joke. All right. Where we could be getting confused is this. All right. See where core stage is? All right. You guys got to understand. Anything above that checker mark right there. See the checker mark? On the forward skirt. On the core stage. Anything above this checker mark is your payload. Okay? That's the payload. Anything above here. This is the third stage. Okay? So the ICBS in this configuration is the third stage. The exploration upper stage in this configuration, that's the third stage. So the SRBs are the first stage. Core stage is the second. ICPS is the third. From here up is payload. That's right. The shuttle, not the shuttle, SLS can move all of this into orbit. A fully fueled Delta IV upper stage into orbit, into low Earth orbit. It can move 100 tons. Now, the wiki might be taking into account how much this can move. So, what does that mean? So the core stage will get just short of orbit. They shut it down early on purpose so it doesn't get into orbit. But if you're pushing a heavier payload, the core stage won't get into orbit anyway, and you might need to do a little burn, just like they did with the Saturn V. The Saturn V S2 can move Skylab into orbit, right? The Skylab doesn't have any thrusters. It placed it into orbit, and then they boosted it with the Apollo CSM, right? So they'll purposely make it so this thing shuts down, and then you have to burn with that, and that will cause a payload hit. But if you wanted to do more with this, like if we wanted to take that fairing right there and put that on this instead, and it went, SRB core stage fairing and then payload, and put up a new ISS or something, oh yeah, you could do that. Sure, no problem. You get 100 tons to work with. SpaceX software AMA tomorrow. Cool. T-Money, 7-month resub. Wait until our community gets into Starbase. It'll be crazy. Sent you stuff on Discord. RT, let me take a look. What a dick. Oh my god. You cheeky bastard. That's kind of funny. Oh my god, what a dick. I actually think that's funny. That's pretty good. What a dick. Oh my gosh. Dude, the savagery. This savagery is real. That's funny though. I think that's hilarious. Dude, you though. Oh my god. Dude, the shade, man. The shade. Oh. What does that pipe on the outside of the rocket actually do? This pipe? That one, Wookie, right there? That's called a downcomer? You ever play Space Engineers? Yes. Not a lot, though. You're talking about this thing? Alright, so, Wookie, I'll walk you through it. That right there is what's called a liquid oxygen downcomer. Alright. You know why? Because liquid oxygen comes down this thing into the engine section. Oh, Dish, don't worry. I know exactly what you're going to say. What a dick. So, Wookie, right here, SLS has what's called an inter tank. Okay? Okay, once again, I'll precurse this entire explanation with engineers are not good at naming things. There's no... And when you're talking about aerospace engineering, you have to be kind of candid. You really don't have time for these games because this is complicated, so you just have to call things what they are, all right? So, the liquid oxygen downcomer is where the liquid oxygen comes down to the engine section, all right? So with the SLS core stage, Wookie, you have 5 components. Engine section, guess what's in there? Hydrogen tank, intertank, LOX tank, forward skirt. Okay? This conic section right there is called a launch vehicle stage adapter because it's an adapter that goes from SLS's 8.4 meter core diameter to Delta IV's 5 meter core diameter. And then you have your interim cryogenic propulsion stage. It's a stage that uses cryogenic propellants that they're only going to use for a couple of launches before they give SLS a bigger upper stage. I know. Very apt. So, into the core stage segments here. You have the inner tank right here. So, what does the inter tank house? Or what does it do? Well, it's the spot between the liquid oxygen and liquid hydrogen tanks. Now, why? Wookie, do you know why this would have an external pipe? Why would you do that? Let's take Starship, for instance. Starship doesn't have a huge fuel pipe coming down the side. It has an internal downcomer and a common bulkhead, right? So the bottom of the liquid oxygen tank is the top of the liquid methane tank. Or reverse that because Starship has the methane tank up high, right? Why would SLS use something different? Well, there's 2 big reasons, okay? The first one, not really that big of a deal, but you do get a performance gain, okay? You get a performance gain if you do not run your liquid oxygen through your liquid hydrogen. You know why? Your liquid oxygen, despite being liquid at like minus 200 Fahrenheit or something ridiculous, is about 100 degrees hotter than the liquid hydrogen. It's 100 degrees warmer. But we're all talking relative. We're still talking a temperature delta here. So your liquid oxygen, despite being freezing cold, enough to, if you put your hand in it, you won't get your hand back, right? It'll actually heat up the liquid hydrogen. And we know that heating up liquid hydrogen is a no-no unless it happens inside of the engines. That's the only spot you want hydrogen to heat up, down in the engines, right? So, liquid oxygen actually heats the liquid hydrogen, and you don't want that, right? Now, there are ways to get around that. With that being said, there are hydrolock stages that have internal downcomers. Centaur is a very good example of that. Saturn V's second stage, the S2, and the S4B, Saturn V's third stage, those have internal downcomers with a common bulkhead. All right? Now, you get a little bit of performance gain. That's a huge one. This is the second one, and this is the most important. Okay? See these 2 white things on the side with the stripes on them? Yeah, those are really, 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 really strong. They're very powerful. So there needs to be a brace that kind of holds these things together, okay? So EJ is going to go into paint. So you have your SLS core stage, right? You have your hydrogen tank, right? And then you have your inner tank, right? And then you have your liquid oxygen tank, right? It's not to scale. Please excuse the crudity of this model. I didn't have time to build it to scale or to paint it. So the SRBs, right, are right here and right here, right? The SRBs are bolted right here, and actually they go a little bit further, right? Let's just, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Right, and then they go up the sides, right? So the SRBs have a clamp attachment point that's on the back of the hydrogen tank right there, because where the hydrogen tank comes down and goes like this, right? That's a strong point right there. It's built up on purpose. The SRBs bolt to the back right there, all right? Now, the other spot up at the top, right, is the structural attachment point. Inside of the inner tank, there's a gigantic crossbeam. It is a huge I-beam that looks like something that would be on a skyscraper or something. And what that does is it holds the SRBs together. Because the SRBs are that strong, if you literally just bolted these to the side, and this goes for pretty much any SRB, if you bolted this thing to the side of just a regular aluminum tank, it would rip right off. These things are very, 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 very strong, and they got to move a lot of weight. So there's a huge crossbar that holds the two SRBs together. That crossbar, you can't, it would be very difficult to have that crossbar go through a pressurized vessel. You could do it, but that's really complicated. And the name of the game with rocket science is trying to simplify it, especially when we're talking super heavy launch vehicles. You have to keep it as simple as possible because building a super heavy launch vehicle is difficult. We're talking something that can move 100 tons into space. That's really hard to do. So that crossbar holds everything together. It holds the SRBs together, and the SRBs don't so much push the entire stack up from the bottom so much as the SRBs are pushing the liquid oxygen tank and the upper stage, right? And the Orion. They're pushing that because of that crossbar, right? And then the engine section is holding is pulling the hydrogen tank. It's pretty much similar with the shuttle. The shuttle's engines are the ones that are moving, that are pushing the hydrogen tank up. And the SRBs have the crossbar on the external tank that's pulling everything else. Yeah, that's the main attachment point. The main attachment point for these things is at the front. Because, yeah, if you just bolted this to, like, the side of just a regular tank, I'm telling you, man, those SRBs would shear right off. It is incomprehensible amounts of power. These engines right here, these 5-segment SRBs are the most powerful rocket engine flown by a long shot. The next most powerful thing that I can think of is the shuttle's 4-segment SRBs. And then then you get to the Saturn V first stage engine, and then the RD-170, which is the most powerful liquid fuel. So it's like 5-segment SRB, 4-segment SRB, RD-170, F1. And yeah, these things put out 14,000 kilonewtons of thrust. 14,000. That's ridiculous. So that's basically, what is it, 14,000 tons? So if you put a 14,000 ton weight on your back, yeah, I think that's right. I think that's how it transfers. The metric stuff is weird to me. Sorry, don't get mad. It's a better system. I get it. Did the shuttle ET have the crossbar? Absolutely. Yeah, so, yeah, Wookie, they have the external downcomers because you get a little bit better performance, not heating up your liquid hydrogen, but also it's the crossbar, man. Here, I can show you with an external tank diagram. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing to me that the shuttle even flew. Like, here's a diagram. See the beam right there? And then the crazy part about this is, you know, I say that it's hanging, you know. Oh, the external tank and the shuttle are hanging off the side of the SRBs. That's not that far off from what actually is going on. So the SRBs on their forward segment, so there's the cylindric segment and then there's the nose cone. They have a pin coming off the side, and that pin ties into the cylindric structure to carry the load. And literally the external tank is just a pin. Seriously. So this is on the end of the crossbar. This is a steel, I don't know. I think that one's steel, right? I mean, look at all the bolts to absorb the freaking. I mean, the shear load on that thing must be insane. But either way, that's the pin right there. The pin goes through here, and you hang the external tank on the SRBs when it's inside of the VAB. So the shuttle, like I said, shuttle and the external tank physically don't touch the mobile launcher. The only thing that's touching the ML is the two SRBs. That's it. And see the pin right there? There it is. And when the SRBs separate, they slip out. They just blow the frangible nut at the top, and they slip off to the side with the separator motor. So they slide back first and then out. Thanks for these explanations. It's really helped me understand, even in English. I know why Space Explorers likes your channel. Yeah, Sinherda. Thanks, man. I mean, it is pretty ridiculous how strong this thing actually is. The SRB's force isn't being held in so much here. The aft attachment points on the SRBs are just there to make sure the SRBs stay straight for the most part. I mean, don't get me wrong. They're still absorbing some structural load. But most of the load gets transferred here. And the SRBs are pulling the shuttle up. It's weird. They're not, but they are. It's crazy. And then with SLS, it's the same thing, but get rid of the yellow part and take these engines and just put them down here. Same kind of idea. I have all these great pictures. And check it out. When they're going to integrate the crane, the external tank, look, they can't use the pinhole, right? You can't use the pin to pick up the external tank because you got to hang it on the SRBs. So they grab it from the side with a little elbow bracket right there. See that? There's the pin slot right there. Is the tower with the umbilical built yet for SLS? Oh, it's finished. Alleviate. The mobile launcher's been done for a long time. It was done in 2019. They're building Artemis 1 on that thing right now. I've walked on it. It's pretty crazy. There's an SRB hold down point right there. Where's the right picture? Look, see the crew access arm installed. It's all ready to go. Here, let's move this up to 2019 update results. There it is. Look at this thing. I mean, this thing is just straight eye candy, dude. Look, you can't sit here and tell me that it's not. Oh, that's pretty. Presumably, there's also a not-nothing bonus from having your lower tank being a cylinder and not a torus. Yeah, of course, Barak. Yeah, you want your tank to... when you have a pressure vessel, Barak, it doesn't matter if it's a propane tank, a scuba tank, or whatever. You generally want pressure to be exerted equally around all sides of that tank. That's why you basically... if you think about a tank, like a rocket's fuel tank, it's basically an extruded sphere. So, like, take a sphere, right, which has equal sides all around, and then extrude it, right? It looks like a pill. There's a reason why, because you get uniform pressure around all sides. This is why SpaceX had to spend so much time with Starship getting their bulkheads right. Because where did Starship fail? Mark 1, Mark 3, where did those fail? They failed at where the cylindric part meets the dome, right? That's where they failed. SpaceX had to reinforce that connection. Also, trying to jam a pipe through it is a little bit complicated. Yeah, I mean, thermal is the real thing that you have to run into, that you have problems with, Barak. Yeah, you don't want to heat up your liquid hydrogen. That's bad for it. The only thing that should be doing that on the rocket is the engine. There's a picture of this thing out at 39B. Oh, dude. Oh, man. Look at that. Is that not eye candy or what? There's the umbilicals right there. The VSS, crew access arm. We're close, man. End of this year. There's the upgraded flame deflectors. These flame deflectors are actually on rails and they roll in. So the mobile launcher is carried by the crawler transport. It sets it down on 6 pins, and then they move the flame diverters inside. The reason is because the SRBs are just a little bit too wide for Complex 39B's flame trench. So they have those diverters on the side to make sure that all the SRB goodness that comes out, all the freedom that comes out the bottom, it goes into the flame trench. The pin size? Oh, the pin size is, dude, it's, yeah, chunky, to say the least. Let me see if I can find a good picture of them. This is from a sound suppression test at 39B. Take a look. Oop. So, you see where it says 3 and 6? That's the pin that holds up the ML. It's chunky. SLS is so ridiculously heavy. I mean, it is heavier than the Saturn V. I'm pretty dang sure. Also, the sound suppressor. There's 3 pipes here that feed the Rainbirds on the mobile launcher. They basically set the mobile launcher down on the guide pins, and these pipes hook up. There's 3 pipes on the ML where the water gets pumped into. See the 3 right there? Yeah, it's just a pin. It's a dowel pin. And the mobile launcher is just being held there by gravity. But what I was saying is, you see these rails right here? Those are the rails for the flame deflectors, right? The deflectors actually have additional support on them because SLS is so ridiculously heavy. It is a heavy rocket. It's heavier than the Saturn V. Why? Because solid rocket boosters are heavier than liquid rocket boosters because they have fuel in them already. They also, with 39B, right? 39B, this is all done. It's all ready to go by now. They have a scaled flame deflector. And when I say scales, I mean it's using metal scales. And then they upgraded the sound suppression system for 39B, and they put lightning rods on it. Actually, that's a pad deluge right there. It's not a sound suppressor. The sound suppressor is actually on the mobile launcher, and they spray water on the pad when the rocket takes off. Actually, no, I got it backwards. That is a sound suppression system. They spray water into the flames, so it's not loud. And then there's the deluge system on top, the Rainbirds. They spray water on the pad, and the rocket lifts off basically through the water, and that makes it so the sound from the rockets on the deluge system doesn't reverberate off the mobile launcher and damage the vehicle. They figured out why that's important during STS-1, especially with the solid rocket boosters. Here, if we go back, I'm Googling Google again. That's not good. If you go to STS-1, there's a picture that Crip took out the back, and it's a really famous picture. It's a really nice picture, right? There it is, but look. Look at Columbia's ohms pods. The sound, they underestimated the sound from the SRBs on STS-1, and they underestimated the performance of them too. You can hear it in the calls. You're looking a little hot, all the calls are going to be a little early. The SRBs did better than they thought they would, and they were so ridiculously loud that the tiles came off the back of the shuttle at liftoff. It shook the thing so hard, the reverberations from the sound physically shook things off the back of the shuttle like the tiles. Bulkheads also can't be perfectly dome-shaped because the pressure experience in the dome is a gradient when fueled. It's a very careful game making something that can hold the weight of the fuel. Yeah, exactly. It can't be a perfect hemisphere. Yeah, it's crazy, man. Yeah. Oh, FaZe, the press was all over them, right? Because somebody in the press corps heard that tiles were coming off, and they kept asking Gene Krantz and Neil Hutchison, who was the flight director for STS-1 during the launch. They were like, the tiles came off. They don't have a heat shield. Are they going to die? And they're like, no, they're not going to die. Why would you ask that? It's really funny. Gene Krantz basically takes the mic and he says, everything is fine. Trust me. And the press is like, oh, that's Gene. Yeah, okay, yeah, we should trust you. Yeah, watch the STS-1 post-launch press conference. Oh, yeah. They get up their tail. The tiles come up. But what happens when the tiles come off? If the tiles come off, don't you need that for re-entering? Like, you don't want them to fall off, right? That's not normal behavior. They basically... It's funny because it's 1981, so it's freaking 40 years ago, right? That's weird. It's 40 years ago. But the press still gonna do press things, guys. Nothing has changed. That's why I think it's funny. You could see Gene Kranz, like, he takes the microphone, he goes, everything's fine. I've worked harder missions than this. Yep. Hello. Clearing land is going well. Finding the end girder for 30 on enchanting iron pickaxe is good. Right on. But yeah, sound suppression, man. So all of this, all that stuff, upgrades to the pad, flame trench, lightning rods, the mobile launcher, that all gets roped into SLS's cost. And that's why everybody's like, oh, it's so expensive, because you're getting the full price tag. That's the price of everything. It's what I call TCI, total cost involved. So, I mean, yeah, you see somebody spouting off about how expensive SLS is, you got to remember, for everything that you're getting, the VAB, the mobile launcher, the crawlerway, the upgraded pad, flame deflectors, the most powerful launch vehicle that we've ever made in terms of liftoff thrust, 100 tons to Leo, a deep space Orion capsule, and now landers. That's all that cost. All that cost gets roped into price per launch because it's total cost involved. Yeah, Tan, I hear you. Is that an automaton? TCI is not as cool as TLI. Hey, Rev Up, what's up, man? I missed your hair. Whoa, I'm shocked. But, yeah. SN15 landed. I said I would give myself a crew cut. And I said crew cut off the cuff, and chat was like, no, you have to. So, it's fine. It's the summer anyway, so it's really not an issue. All right. Anyway, so yeah, that's what's going on with SLS right now. Let's flip over and see what's going on with the other super heavy launch vehicle that we're currently making over here in the States. Just, you know, why have one when you could have two? They don't have the updated video out just yet, but SN15 was put on Pad B. It was put on Pad B, and that's South Padre's picture of the crane. Let's go over here to Mary. Also, what Hellfish said. Yeah, wait. Bobble, bobble, beeble, hobble, hobble. To be fair, they thought that tiles equals required. So, yeah, somebody from the press thinking they know more than NASA. Nothing has changed. So Mary's the woman that lives down in Boca Chica Village, and she takes pictures. All the footage that we usually review during the day is stuff that she, you know, goes out and films. Part of what she did is show that part of what she filmed today is showing that SN15 is back on the pad. They didn't lift it yesterday because of Pad B. They didn't lift it yesterday because of winds. They lifted it onto Pad B. Excuse me. Better pics here of the move. Dark mode. Holy shnikes. Man. Ironically, one of my engineering colleagues used to be part of the press. Yeah. A good thing to take into mind here is how big those tiles actually are. You know, I think shuttle tiles, when I see these, even though they're hexagons, I think shuttle tiles, so I think it's about this big. No, the tile's about as big as a basketball, or a football, or a soccer ball, whatever. Pretty cool job these guys have. Yeah, X. You know what the thing about it is, though? Like, how much would it suck having this as your job, right? And not being able to tell anyone about it. That would really suck. More like a beach ball. I mean, yeah, Shy, they're big, man. They're very big. I mean, look at it, dude. Look at it compared to the dude's melon. That thing is huge. It's sports ball size. Look at that guy. He's like, hey, I'm under here. Don't drop it. He's not. It can't fall through. Yeah, I'm gonna... Yep, okay. Yeah, I wouldn't do that even if the thing was bolted to the pad. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. That's that. Yeah, I would not do that. Even if, like I said, even if the thing was bolted, I just. Did we watch this one? Let me see. You know what? Maybe I don't think we did. Let's see. All right. We're gonna stop space news after this. Only gators get the luxury of being cooked by rocket engines. Actually, Lego, yeah, I mean, yeah, I get what you're saying. It's a joke, but yeah, they have environmental people come in there and get the gators out of the flame trench, because the flame trench is a huge bucket to hold the flames, and they spray a bunch of water in it, right? Guess what? Shady spot where there's water, alligators love that. Seriously, they have on the pads. Sometimes gators find their way into the flame trench and they chill in there. It's like a little house for them. It's nice and cool. Yeah, they get guys in there. They have like not a croc hunter, right? But they have some nature dude come in there and get the gators out, because the gators find themselves in the flame trenches. Yeah, they find them in the flame trenches sometimes. Yeah, it's really nice and cool. Nice, cool spot. Nice and watery. That's what they let. And then it's not cool for probably about 15 to 20 seconds. It's not cool after that. And then it goes back to being cool. Yeah, we could do the KSP2 video after this. It turns into a jacuzzi real quick. Yeah, it's a gator hot tub stream.
Hi.
Hello.
I wanted to show you this because I thought it was cool. With your book, you got a little patch.
So Brimo went to the bookstore.
Yeah.
And got this. And then it came with a patch.
A little patch. I had no idea. The girl just gave me. She was like, "Oh, you get one of those," and I was like, "Oh, that's cool."
No, I'm not getting paid to do this. I just wanted the book.
It's signed too.
What?
Yeah, they had it like.
Where? How did this bookstore have a signed copy?
I think a lot of authors are doing like signed copies to local bookstores nowadays to get people to go to bookstores, and also so that it like lowers how much people will pay for their autograph in the future. Like, I have a bunch of John Green books, and he literally like signed hundreds of thousands of those because he doesn't want people making money off of it when he dies.
That's a good call.
Yeah. So, yeah, I just wanted to show you.
That's awesome.
I don't think this is like he just went into the random bookstore
Yeah.
because it has a sticker.
I would do that if I was an author. I would. I'd be like, yeah, I'm that guy. Can I sign a couple of your books? What are they going to say? No? All right, let's see what we got. Thank you, Brimo. I love you. Oh, well. Did you see this yet? No. That's cool, though. That's cool, Sebi. Part of the nose cone jail is in the scrapyard now. It is, Ryan. I just finished covering that, actually. It's being refurbed right now. They'll take it vertical in a second. They gotta refurbish everything, man. Like the burnt part at the bottom, they gotta remove all that tape. No one goes to the book signings either because human malware. Yeah, that's a good point. Hey, Leglander, I'm good, man. How are you? So these are the crossbars, the cross beams there for the tower. What else we got? So this is for the tank farm. They're gonna, the propellant depot. You have an Amazon box too. I assume it's car parts. Huh. I don't ever remember ordering any car parts. What collided with the Black Brant rocket? Somebody dropped something and it hit it, Elijah. It was a part of the service structure. Oh, just ordered that book. Oh, there you go. Turbo? I mean, maybe? So they're still assembling the 11350 here. See, fellas, okay, it's interesting. The reason why it's interesting is, and this is another thing, like one of those things that I noticed, all right? So, they restarted assembly of the Liebherr 11350, which is just, yeah, Big Mac, because it's McDonald's colors. Somebody came up with that in chat. The one with the power boom, they restarted assembly of that thing. Now, don't get me wrong, the crane just goes together like Lego. It's a big Lego kit. It really is. It's like playing with Lego Technic or Connects or something. So you could stop construction of that at any time. But I do notice that when they're getting ready to do some kind of launch, they take the cranes and the big cranes and they move them. They move them away. They generally don't keep the cranes here when they're going to do any launch operations. So I'm not sure exactly what that means at this point in time, but I know that now that they're working on the power boom and everything, I would guess that they're going to finish it. So that tells me we might be a little bit away from a launch or whatever they're doing with SN15. Just that, once again, it's just an idle observation. I mean, it might be nothing, but something to note, I suppose. They're putting down that conduit box right there. As a note, them moving Tankzilla was originally not the plan for the SN9 flight. The delays to SN9 added more time to move the crane. Yeah. SN15 is full scale? Yeah, Lego. What do you... It looks small, although 100 ton... Although... Yeah, Lego, that thing's... What is it? 50? 50 meters. It's 50 by 9 meters. So 150 feet by about, what is it, 30? 150 by 30. Yeah, those numbers aren't exact because meters to feet isn't exact. But that's a rough estimate. It's a 15-story building, man. Yeah, that's full size. That's a full-sized version, dude. That's a serial vehicle. What does that mean? It was made. The starships that go into space are made on the same production line as that thing. That's the size of it, dude. It's about as big as Falcon 9's first stage and about 2.5 times as wide. Starship, if you need another reference, is about as big as a shuttle's external tank. The ET on the space shuttle is about the same size, give or take, and I have a really good picture in here that conveys size. So, that's a Crown Vic. Crown Vic is a big old American boat. All right? That's the tank next to it. That's ET-94 when they were moving it to the California Science Center. Starship is gigantic, dude. It is really, really, really big. They need two smaller cranes to lift the... Two smaller cranes today to lift the boom further up. That thing is nuts. Dream Keys, as they build the 11350 even more, what they'll do, and I've watched a ton of videos on this because I think cranes are fascinating. I don't know why I never learned more about them. See the pulleys right there? The pulleys that are attached to the derrick, and then this bracket piece, this adapter piece right here. Basically what they're going to do is you're right, they need to. They need other cranes to be able to lift the boom up. And then what they do is the operator will move the derrick forward. So they'll be able to move this thing out here more to the next segment. And then they'll bolt it there, right? And then they can lift the thing up, attach another segment, right? And then they'll undo the pulleys. So they basically attach a piece like this, right? And then they lift it up, they bolt it together, right? And then they set the whole thing down. And then over here, they'll attach another piece, lift the thing up, bolt it together, and then set the whole thing down again. You just keep attaching pieces, but the boom is at an angle. You see how it's going down? So how the rungs, how the segments of crane go together is there's 4 corners. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4, and the corners have like a notch piece that's coming up like this off the end, and it has a pin that goes through it. And then on the other side, you have a single notch piece that has a hole going through it, and they just fit together. But you can only attach the top 2 first, right? And then it's because it's like this, because this is on the ground and this is on the boom, and then they'll pick it up with the pulley from the derrick, bring them together, bolt the 2 together, and then rinse and repeat until you get to the jib. I think I lived in London too long. 50 meters isn't that high. The width makes me think it's carousel size. Yeah. I mean, you could see that this smaller crawler crane right here, that's a Manitowoc, what is that, 13,000 or something? That thing is the same idea. That's a small lattice crane, though. That guy's pulling the trailer. That's a nice trailer. These are nice trailers, man. See they bolt together right there? It's cool, man. They're like big Lego Technic kits. Seriously. So this is a non-derrick crawler crane because it's a small one. So you only have your mast and your boom, and that's it. So this thing is designed for moving small stuff around. Usually the number on the side of the crane denotes how much it can lift, but that also does depend on crane configuration too, right? Because if you have a crane with the boom all the way up here and you're trying to pick up like 100 tons, right? You should be able to pick that up no problem. But if your crane's out here like this, right? And you try to pick it up, it's gonna tip, right? It really depends. I think the number of the crane is the maximum payload that it can move in its biggest configuration. I think that's how they do it. But there's a bunch of crane operators in chat that teach me this stuff. Cranes are freaking cool, dude. I think lattice cranes are insane. It's a big frigging Lego kit. So this thing right here, that's a concrete pumper truck. And basically what this thing does is it has a huge funnel at the back, right? And then there's a huge auger in here that's driven by a, I think it might be hydraulic, I'm not sure. There's a huge auger in here like a snowblower, and basically what it does is it pumps concrete up the boom, and then there's a hose hanging off of the boom right there. And that makes it so the thing can like reach up and over and pour concrete, and they could just move it around. Is there anyone that is already guaranteed to be on the first mission to Mars? No, low gravity. We're dude, even SpaceX. SpaceX might not be that far off from moving something to Mars, but moving something to Mars and moving people to Mars are 2 different things. And I think that's where like a lot of folks that don't know a lot about spaceflight get confused. When Elon Musk says they're going to do something to Mars, that they're going to launch a Starship into space, that doesn't mean that it's the final version. Because moving people is way harder than moving... It's way more difficult than moving, Tesla, for instance. You're probably going to want to send a lot of stuff unmanned first, just to make sure that it's safe. So, like, when Elon Musk says, "Oh, we might get a trip to Mars in 2024 with a Starship, it's most likely going to be unmanned. There's going to be nothing on it. There's going to be nobody on it. It'll just be some fuel tanks with a thermal protection system, and that's it, and a bunch of empty space. The concrete pumps usually use displacement pumps, pistons. Got it, Granite. Thank you. Concrete pressure washer. It's more like just a concrete garden hose. Yeah, this is the pumper truck. The pumper truck just has a big excavator arm, right? And that, yeah, they're pouring some concrete over there. And then the cement mixer backs up to it, and he pours that guy pours the cement into the back of this. There's a big funnel. And then if you want to know about concrete mixers, like I know, it's like, what are you playing with Tonka trucks? No, this is how this works. Somebody might find it interesting. So up here is where they initially pour the concrete in from the factory, right? And then inside of this, there's a giant corkscrew. It's called an auger, right? And the concrete, when you're spinning it so the auger goes forward, it keeps the concrete mixed, but it doesn't move it anywhere. When you spin the thing backwards, the auger will force the concrete out the back of the concrete holder. So depending on which direction this thing is spinning, the auger is going in one direction or the other, and it can either push the concrete forward and just keep mixing it, right? Or it could push it back, and you could basically throw it out the back of the truck. Now, see this guy? He's not pumping any concrete right now, either because that thing is empty, or they're not ready to go. Yeah, dude. Like, you know, we learn about construction sites when you're kids, but it's really cool to see it actually come together, and it's even cooler to see it being used to make freaking spaceports. That's really cool. It really kind of brings it home for me, Lego. This is the reason. That's the reason why I like to learn how all this stuff works. Because this is something like, okay, so somebody sees Starship and they think that's like sci-fi as heck, right? Like, not everybody's gonna know what that thing's gonna do. Like, how did this even happen? How does this even get made? But on the other hand, everyone knows what a freaking front end loader is. That's not a bulldozer. It's a front end loader. Differences. Bulldozers are usually tracked, all right, and they have a huge flat front like this. Bulldozers push dirt around. Front end loaders can pick up dirt and move it somewhere else. Front end loader versus bulldozer. Differences. Not everybody would just call that a bulldozer, I know. But it's cool to see it all kind of come together. That's really neat to me. The first Starship to Mars will have a full payload mass worth of something for testing purposes. Yeah, exactly. Or a wheel of cheese, Synard, but yeah. Mm-hmm. So they said it's a box culvert. Yeah, it's either that or it's a conduit. You'd either use these for drainage, prefabricated drainage segments, or they're using it to run electrical wires. It could be either one. It's hard to say. Yes, Hokie. Or they could just move a bunch of doo-doo caca-poo-poo pee-pee. Raptors lose. So right there is a telescoping crawler crane. So telescoping means the boom is a big telescope. You don't have to assemble it. They use these telescoping crawler cranes well, what they're doing there is on the 11350, they're assembling the wagon. Cranes have an extension piece that comes off the back where you can hold counterweights. It's the wagon. That's if you need to move something heavy, like building a fixed service structure for one of the biggest rockets ever made. Yeah, the Raptors are loose. Don't do that. So that's the connector for the wagon. The wagon is basically just a giant tray that holds more of these. Each one of these counterweights right there is 22,000 pounds, 10,000 kilos, because it's Liebherr, it's Swiss crane, so it's engineered in metric. So 22,000 pounds, each one of those. It's a big block of steel. That's it. It's solid freaking. Actually, it could be iron. It could be forged. I'll bet you that that's either a forged or cast piece. Cast is really, really heavy. Yeah, the crawler crane is big. It looks like something that's going to transform into like a Gundam or Voltron or something. But I can't believe Elon isn't using American cranes. This is an outrage. Okay, one, Swiss isn't that bad, John. Two, I don't think there's enough cranes because there's Manitowoc cranes all over the place. Manitowoc is the American kind of counterpart to Liebherr. There is a bunch of them all over the place. They used the Manitowoc 18,000 to build the high bay. Oh yeah, an American crane built that high bay where they put all the starships together. Yeah, there's the legs we saw on the truck yesterday. Just bring in the 31,000. Hell yeah. See, there's the bracket piece that I was telling you about. The pulley has a piece right here, and these things are called pendants with a crane. You have two types of things that hold everything together on a crane. You have pendants, and then you have the pulleys. The pulleys are the cable. That's the cable. The cable can lift things, or it can move different parts of the mast or the derrick. This thing has three parts coming off of it. You have the main mast, or the main boom, excuse me. This is the main boom right here. In this case, it has the attachments for the sides. This thing is called a power boom. Then this red piece right here, that's a big lattice structure, that's called the derrick. The derrick has pulleys on it, and that controls the angle of the boom. So if you pull the derrick pulleys forward, your boom will go up. All right? And then, in order to keep the leverage, right, you have your mast, which is this solid piece right here. The mast is a huge frame right here that has pulleys that attach the house of the crane to the mast right there. See that right there? And then on top of all of this, on top of these pulleys that change the angles of the boom, the mast, and the derrick, you have the cables at the very top that actually are attached to the crane part that hangs. It's attached to the hook. So there's a lot of levers and pulleys here. These are your stabilizers right here. That's your boom stabilizer, and that's the derrick stabilizer right there. Those are basically shock absorbers to make sure you don't do anything dumb. It makes sure that you can't gimbal lock the derrick. Yeah, like if it goes too far back and starts to fall, yeah, that thing will make sure that you don't do that. If these things get fully gimbal locked, believe me, it'll let you know. Either that or you're about to die. Yeah. See, there's the pins right there. See the pins? Okay, so you want to understand scale here. See the ladders on the side of each segment right there? That's a ladder. A regular sized ladder. This power boom is huge. How much land does SpaceX own down there to fit all this stuff? It's a good amount, Tars, but it's not as much as you'd think. Another cool thing to note is that they hang the pendants. The pendants are basically steel bars with hinges on the end. They hang the pendants on the sections right there. Depending on what type of configuration of the crane you're using, the pendants actually just stay with their segments, or you can take them and you can use them to connect pulleys together. All this is it's a basic lever and a basic pulley. There's just a lot of them. I mean, look at the power boom segment compared to the cement mixer. And guys, like for the Euro guys, this is an American cement mixer. It's friggin' huge. The Euro ones use a cab over, so a Euro cement mixer is about from here to there. I mean, this thing is a big old cement mixer. Power boom. Is this the biggest crane SpaceX has had over there? Yes. Yeah, the 11350 with the power boom attachments, yeah, that's the biggest one. Wait a minute. Fellas. Those aren't crane parts. There's nothing basic about that crane. Yeah, no, well, it's basic levers and pulleys, dude. That's basic tools. There's SN15's landing legs. But yeah, you're right. It's a lot of them, and that becomes complicated, right? So what they'll do is they'll move these segments in with the other crane, right? And then they'll attach the two top pieces, and then this thing will pull the power boom up, right? So the piece goes like this. They'll bolt the bottom pieces together, right? And then they'll detach this, and the operator will use the mast pulley right here to move. He'll extend that pulley, right? And then the mast and the derrick will move forward. and then they'll take this pulley from the derrick and they'll attach it to the next segment, and then pick the thing up, attach another piece, rinse and repeat until you get as big of a crane as you need. This thing is going to be big. The configuration that this thing is going to be in is easily going to be 500 feet, because we know from the environmental impact reports that the fixed service structure at the orbital launch pad is 500 feet tall. So that's, what is that, like 200 meters, something like that, guys? A little bit less than that. So no, it's less than that. It's like 170 meters. So this thing is going to be taller than that because you need to stack it, right? So that crane is going to be insane. It's as tall as a skyscraper. 50-story building, man. Oh yeah, Thomas, there you go. There's a picture of them doing it. Yeah, notice that. There are a lot of dodges there. So this one over here, this is a different one. This is the blue crane. The blue crane is a lattice crawler crane, but it's a little bit smaller than the 11350. I forget what model this one is. It's a Liebherr crane, but I forget what it is. But see, this one has a main boom, right? There's the main boom. It's not a power boom attachment. The power boom would be like 3 of these next to each other. It's a 1600-2. Thank you. This thing is 50 meters tall, Eminem. SN15's 50 by 9, so about 150 feet by 30 feet for America viewers. The crane right here has a main boom, and then it has a derrick and a mast. But this guy, they have the wagon. See the pendants? These things are just steel rods. It's just a metal bar. That's it, with hinges on the end. The pendants are going down to the counterweight, and the counterweight is sitting on the wagon back there. The mast is fully retracted, and the derrick control is basically fixed. You see those type of pulleys right there. This thing has the same derrick as the other crane. It's the same thing. The cool thing is that you could take parts off this crane and add them to the other crane, which is really that's really cool to me. But see the derrick control right there? The derrick is the same. I just like saying derrick over and over again. The white and blue, and then the red one, that's the same. All the mast in that is very similar. This thing has a wider base though, because it's designed to lift heavier things. It has bigger crawlers on it. Snakes, derrick. I don't know, Trojan, maybe. Nice. No, Shy. No, Shy. You don't understand. You don't understand. Ours are bigger, therefore they're better, all right? Okay? You don't understand. No, thanks, man. I'm just messing. Ours are better! Shut up! No. Now, there's some good trucks over there. I like, which one is it? Well, I like my Russian trucks, to be honest with you. Don't take that the wrong way. MAN is a good truck. DAF is... I'll take a Mack truck, thank you very much. So that's the orbital launch mount. So this is the launch table. These guys are doing... So that guy's MIG welding. He's laying down some bead right there. Volvo's okay. Volvo makes a good truck. Scania is good too. Mercedes? Yeah, you would say that. Mercedes is okay. They make a decent truck. Any idea what they're doing on the launch table? They've been working on it for a long time. Well... Okay, Vasi, if I had to guess, all right, because they moved this thing in segments, and they started welding it together, right? So, like, welding something like this takes a long time, especially when you're dealing with, like 50 to 100 mil thick steel. I mean, this steel it's thick. I'd say, yeah, 50 mil, somewhere in there. So that's like 2 to 3 inches, guys. It's thick stuff. You really need to take your time with the weld, and you have to make sure that the weld holds. Fassi, if I had to guess, the welding is what's taking a long time. The other thing is that I don't know how Super Heavy is going to bolt to the pad. I need to look at the bottom of a Super Heavy to figure out what the heck all this is, because there's clearly spaces. There's spacing in between these segments, right? They welded it together there, and there, right? So they butted them up against each other, and when the two segments came, there's a big hollow space right there. And you see the big old hollow space on the Z-axis right there? I don't know what that's for, but it's clearly open. So these things could be the hold down points, and the hold down points could like move up and into this housing right there if I had to guess, but I don't know. I have no idea. I'm gonna go ahead and just say that it's probably the welding that's taking some time, because when you weld something like this, there's only so much of a bead that you can run with welds, especially when you're talking about industrial stuff. So say you have your big old thick piece of metal right here, right? And then you have another big old thick piece of metal. You're not going to weld and get pen all the way through. There's no way that's happening, right? You're not going to weld it and right? And you're not going to heat the metal up enough to get pen all the way to the bottom, especially if this is 50 mil. There's no way that's happening. So how you kind of got to do industrial welding like this is you have to lay down one bead, right? And then you have to lay down another bead, and then you have to lay down another bead, and then you have to lay down another bead, and then another bead, and then another one. See where I'm going with this? And then another one, and then another one, and then another one. You got to keep doing this. Then you lay down one there, and you lay down one there, and there, and there. And you basically just build up a ton of weld to hold these things together. And then on the other side, you do the same thing. And then on top of that, after you do that, you have to polish it so it's nice and straight. And then you have to check for contaminations and stuff. Well, you're probably not going to get much, because if you're using a MIG. But that's the reason, dude. Even the biggest welders around, it's still going to take a while to get to lay in all that bead. That takes forever. Welding is, especially because welding is something where you take your time. Don't rush welds. That's something that I've learned. Welding is like drawing. Drawing, you don't go fast unless you're just doing a scribble or whatever. Welding takes a lot of time, and it takes a lot of practice. It's a very time-consuming process, but it's the best we got. They are heat treating, goalie. They're heat treating the metal before and then welding on top of it. I know, because they got propane torches all over the place. What's that, Sebi? Yeah, that looks weird. You can scribble things or you can paint. So, Vasi, if I had to guess, dude, it's the welding. Just the welding that's that's what's taking so long. It's gonna, if I know launch tables, all right, and I'd like to think that I have a decent idea about these things. If I know launch tables, this thing needs to be perfectly straight. It needs to be exactly true. If this thing is warped in any way, when you go to stack the vehicle, it ain't gonna line up. That thing has to be 100% level. It can't be bent. One side can't be warped or anything. And don't get me wrong, the welders and the torches aren't going to warp that. You'd need lava to warp this thing. But take your time. That's my guess. I don't know. Welds don't work like that. I don't know what's in what that's in response to, Vaxsock, but yeah, I don't think the welding is going to warp this or anything. But the welds aren't going to do it. You need like to pour lava on this thing, and then that might do it. Metal absorbs heat pretty damn well. But I mean, it depends on the metal, to be honest with you. This is steel. I'm going to guess that this is probably just rolled steel, if I had to guess. But yeah, the welders don't put in enough heat to be able to warp this thing. I'm talking about like putting it together. It's not that one individual weld, Vaxsock, is going to screw up the whole thing. It's that you got to butt those segments up. And it's more measure twice, cut once types of things. You absolutely have to make sure that this thing is perfectly flat. Because it's going to have about, I don't know, a 10,000, what is it? What do you think Starship is fully fueled? Like, no, not 10,000, like a 4,000 ton rocket holding it like that it has to hold up? This stuff has to be right. You know, rockets are like building a skyscraper, right? And if you screw up down at the bottom, the screw up down here could mean that the rocket is crooked up at the top. I mean, we know that from KSP, right? That's weird, Sebi. It's weird how they do that. But see, that guy over there is grinding back a weld, and this guy is MIG welding over here. Now, these are steel workers right here. They're putting in the bolts. They're putting in the bolts for the tower. Once again, guys, note that the tower has these gussets right here. These gussets off the side, meaning that there's going to be something that's going to be mounted to this. But my guess is whatever is going to be mounted to this is going to be for aesthetic purposes. Like covering, like 39A. 39A, they put like sheathing on it. How many bolts do you want? All of them. But, once again, another thing to look at is this one over here. This sub-assembly over here doesn't have this going down the side. And now, that could be just because they finished this one and they haven't finished this one. But there definitely is something on the side here. It could be a cable tray. Yeah, it might be, goalie. Yeah, this could be for electronics. They could be a raceway. Yeah, absolutely. These things are for the covers, I'm pretty sure. Can you explain the advantages, disadvantages of electric welding versus welding with gases? Yeah, sure, Tom. Okay, so long story short with welding, it's the arc. What are you doing? You're arcing electricity through metal to melt that metal, to get that metal to melt, basically, right? So a welder, right, when you feed it, like with a MIG welder, or just, we'll say a stick welder with no gas, you push the button and flux comes out the end, right? And then you have a ground on your welder attached to whatever you're welding to, and when that flux hits the thing that you're trying to weld, it creates an electrical arc, and that arc is strong enough to basically melt the flux to whatever you're trying to weld, right? So if you tack just one like little click, right, it's gonna sizzle the bacon. Welders know what I'm talking about. You're gonna basically meld the flux to the metal, right? Now the thing is, the difference between like a MIG and just a regular stick welder, right, is that it's the gases that the electrical arc goes through, all right? So there are some reactive gases in our atmosphere, like oxygen, for instance. Oxygen with metal, not a good thing. Anybody, or salt, for instance. I mean, if you're welding by the ocean, then that's a problem. You'll literally crystallize some salt in the arc, and that'll get stuck in the weld, and it'll make the weld rust from the inside out. Oh yeah, that happened to SpaceX. They put together Starship out in a damn field, and the rings failed because they TIG welded stainless steel, and the wind blew the gases away. So that's getting into MIG and TIG welding. MIG welders and TIG welders pump out a column of gas out of the handle, right? The handle of the welder. You still have your flux in the center, right? You still have the metal rod that you feed through, right? But when you push it, it pumps gas out. It pumps out inert gas. So you could use argon, you could use krypton, you could use xenon, you could use helium if you want to. Any of the inert gases will work. You could use nitrogen, but I think they use argon if I'm remembering right. MIG welders use argon. I don't have a MIG at home. I only have a flux welder, so it's just a stick with no gases. So basically the gases come out of the nozzle of the welder in a nice column, and then the flux core is in the center of that column, and the arc is protected by the gases so no contaminants get in the weld. That's really, really important, depending on what you're doing. If you're just welding together like a 57 Chevy in your driveway, it doesn't matter. Like if you're doing some body work, you're putting some new metal in, that doesn't matter. If you're welding a frame for that Chevy, though, yes, it absolutely matters. You don't want the frame to rust, right? Obviously. Your welds will rust from the inside out. You see that with a lot of newer cars nowadays, believe it or not. The welds on the subframe on a lot of cars just rust off. And then if the weld rusts off, then it's just, I don't know why they do that, but yeah, thanks, Ian. Yeah, the substitute filler metal. Yeah, granted, it's just the metal, the wire rod, right? Grosjean is starting from pole tomorrow for the Indianapolis road course. That's cool, Sebi. Do you know why they picked that upside down triangle design for the support beams on the fixed service structure? Jekyll, I'm not actually 100% sure. Every other fixed service structure that I've seen has the 45s going up instead of down. But just like any other type of engineering, if there's any structural engineers here, there's probably a very good reason why they're doing that. And if I had to guess, right, what's the difference between this fixed service structure and then, for instance, the one that launches SLS, right? What's the difference? SpaceX wants to catch something with this. They want to catch essentially a booster the size of SLS's core stage with this. That's the only thing I can really think of that's different, right? I mean, amongst other things. So I'm going to go ahead and guess that they have these down for a reason, to be able to better take the load if this thing goes and tries to catch a booster. But that's a huge guess. I don't know for sure. You see the mountings on the left. The mountings on the left. Yeah. So another thing, Tom, that electric boat work submarine weldings are super serial. Welders on the subs welders in general, dude. Welders in general make a lot of money. Welding is a freaking art form, dude. I mean, it's not. It's a trade, but yeah, if you like building stuff out of metal, you like fabrication, welders make tons of money. Doesn't matter if you want to fabricate like a NASCAR chassis for a race car, or if you want to put a launch pad together. Welders make bank. 100,000, 150 easy, and they'll pay you to do it. Just shameless plug for the trade. Sorry. Trades are amazing. I mean, anyone can think up how to build a freaking rocket, but then you need skilled workers to actually go and do it. What do you think of when do you think the orbital pad will be ready to go? Farway, judging from what I've seen from these sub-assemblies and how all this is going, I'm going to say that SpaceX is going to do their orbital launch attempt probably, and this is just, keep in mind, this is always subject to change. It could be different sometime soon. This is probably going to happen in August. That's a guess, huge guess. The pad, like, look, I get it, SpaceX is quick. The pad isn't even close to being finished, much less tested, and then having a booster stacked on top of it. The pad isn't close. It's getting there. And don't get me wrong, SpaceX has crapped this out pretty much at NASA Apollo speeds. I say crapped it out like implying that it's bad. It's not. It's amazing. It's amazing how fast they've been able to coordinate this construction effort. Considering that a year ago, it was where the pad stands right now was a swamp. It's pretty damn good. So, another couple of months, dude, for sure. I mean, dude, look at the scale of this thing. Look at the two dudes sitting there. Yep, there's a plate that fastens the two segments together. And then, see, these are curved, so when they go to stack them, it locates itself, and it won't, like, move left and right. Hey, Ismic, happy Friday. I mean, guys, the gusset steel right there is probably about, I don't know, ½ inch. So like 12, 13 mil easily. This stuff's heavy. It's heavy freaking steel. You need that though if you're going to build a skyscraper. I just remember a few years ago we'd look at pictures of the launch area or look on Google Maps and it was just dirt. It was just a dirt mound. Yeah, I mean, 2018 Apatoxin is when the SpaceX 2018 is when they switched to the stainless steel, if I'm remembering correctly. Right? We saw Starhopper in late 2018, and then 2019, 2020, and we're into 2021 now, and yeah, this is pretty much Apollo pace for what they're building. So, I mean, Apollo started in 1961, and then 1968, they had the Saturn V, like a fully configured, all-up Saturn V tested. Let's see. So 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021. So 4 years for the Starship program. November of 2018. So actually, it's 3.5, right, Kamer? So we're probably like, if we just compare it apples to apples, which doesn't really make sense with the Apollo program, we're 3.5 years in, so 1962, 63, 64 and a half. And if I'm remembering correctly, NASA had 39A, Complex 39, so the VAB and everything that was done and built by 1965. And then the first Saturn V was launched in 68. So, I mean, keep in mind, SpaceX goes fast, you know. They might be going a little bit faster than Apollo, than the Apollo program. They're definitely moving, that's for sure. I'm gonna go, like, by these metrics, SpaceX is going a little bit faster. But you got to remember, they're going a little bit faster than Apollo, but not much faster. And Apollo was nothing. Before the Apollo program was a thing, we launched one guy into space on a converted missile. We launched Shep into space, and that's it. And that wasn't even orbital. So Apollo taught us everything. That NASA had to figure all this stuff out. So, like, I'm not going to sit here and say that either, that SpaceX is standing on the shoulders of giants. They would probably say that, but I think SpaceX is going faster than Apollo. It would be like if we tried to do Apollo and we had the urgency of the Apollo program and we already knew how to do it. It's because SpaceX already knows how to launch things into space, Falcon 9. So I would contend to say that they're going a little bit faster, which is great. And that's why there's so many fanboys, because they go quick, man. Yeah, Phil, that's right. These are the giant V-band clamps that they use to put the segments together. Oversized delivery to the production site. Yeah, it's definitely oversized. You can tell it's oversized because of the way it is. Well, Swishio, the Apollo program was 400,000 strong, man. And keep in mind, that's everything. From the construction workers that built the VAB to Neil Armstrong putting his boot on the frickin' moon to, you know, the guys that made the spacesuits, all the electronics involved. That's 400,000 people. I don't think SpaceX is that much, but they're up there. Yeah, I agree. Kenworth's nice. It's got a sleeper on it. It's a nice truck. It's got a Vista dome on that. Look at that. It's cool, man. Nice truck. Do you know how many work with Starship? Unknown. I don't even know how many people work for SpaceX, dude. I know SpaceX has talked about it before, but I forget when and where. Sorry, I got some messages. Okay. All right. 10,000 is what they said? Yeah. All right. So, last bit of news here, because we got to get going. And so it's beginning. So Rocket Lab has a launch that's in 11 hours and change right now. Wikipedia says 9,500 as of January. So, I mean, that's 9,500 people that work for SpaceX proper core. How many contractors do they have making anything from the launch pad subassemblies to like the landing legs? The landing legs aren't made by SpaceX for Starship. They're fabricated somewhere else. You know, all the people that work on the recovery ships don't work for SpaceX. You know, the guys that operate Go Searcher, Go Navigator, Finfalget, the tugs, Elsbeth, none of those guys work for SpaceX. They're contracted. I wonder how, like all contractor included, that number is probably double if I had to guess, which is unbelievable. That's a lot. That's a lot of people. But anyway, we have an Electron launch at 6. Now this is a red letter day and a red upper stage. No, this is a couple of interesting things about this one. So this has 2 Photon upper stages stacked on top. If you look, this Electron rocket looks a little bit different. It's 2 Photon stages. There's two third stages for this rocket because they have 2 different payloads going to 2 different places. So Rocket Lab basically took their payload attachment fitting and made it into an upper stage, and now they have 2 payload attachment fittings on top of each other, and then the fairing, which is pretty crazy. Yeah, photon plus the Curie. Yeah, not 2 photons. What's the nomenclature for it then, Thomas? It's a Sealda type thing. Let me take a look. Oh, so it's like Ariane 5. Okay. Yeah, see they... Okay, alright. Oh, so they're carrying... 2 satellites with Sealda. Okay, so it's not 2 photons. Excuse me, I misspoke. So it's 2 satellites stacked on top of each other. So you have a double payload attachment fitting. So this one is like a huge upside-down cup, right? And then inside of the cup you have the first satellite, and then the second one is stacked on top of it. Interesting. That's the first time we've seen this, if I'm remembering right. It's pretty cool, man. And also, this Rocket Lab mission, they're going to recover the stage again, or at least they're going to try. First time they're using this. That's pretty damn cool. So these are observation satellites. They're very small. They're small. For Black Sky, they're small, looking downward satellites. In-flight recovery, they're not doing in-flight recovery this time. This is going to be just like the other one. It's going to come down and land in the water. And Rocket Lab actually does have. They had a picture, and I didn't really get to share it very quickly the other day. They had a picture of their recovery equipment. It's a big tray that's sitting on the back of a boat. That would be a useful payload packing strat in KSP. We could do it. I could have done that with Freedom 10. Freedom 10 could stack double payload fairings on top of each other, no problem. You know, one fairing instead of a fairing, it's just an inner stage with an open fairing. Yeah, we could have done that. Yeah, easy. I forget where the picture of their recovery equipment is. It should have been in here somewhere. So Mike has a picture of it. Let's see. Yeah, see? They're gonna... Yep, there it is. They're basically just gonna grab the thing and then slide it up on this and bring this down. Orbital Rocket Recovery Assistance System thing. Orbital Carrier Rocket thing. It's an acronym. It was released to the press. Right on. Okay. I think that's everything. We're going to cap off Space News with this. It's a video released by the KSP2 developers today.
This one recording?
Yeah, there we go. All right, check this out. The ship is already in place for the recovery. Very neat. All right. So, we have a new episode of the kind of documentary, not documentary, about the development of KSP2. Watching planes take off. Nice, E22, there you go. Yeah, Sevi, right? Next Starship flight is orbital. Called it. I mean, anybody can just read Elon's tweets and say, called it. I mean, you called it. I know. I just looked at Elon's tweets, dude. I was much more interested in how they were going to get there. But yeah, crazy, huh? Well, yes, but actually, no. I know. I was. All right. Never mind. But yeah, crazy, huh? Like, yeah. I mean, Elon had already said at that point that they were going to go with the orbital flight, right? Last time we talked about this, but that FCC filing. Yep. Okay. No, they're actually doing that. Imagine if they could throw together Super Heavy in 30 days. Pad is the bottleneck at this point, S-Master. It's almost like these things are difficult to build. Go figure, right?
This one recording? Because, you know,
Here's
memory is cheap. Oh, this... Only thing is, where do I put this mic? I'm gonna have 2 lapel mics at this rate. That's probably for the best.
So Kerbal is incredibly accessible. You can build your rocket and watch it fly off and explode, and you can enjoy the experience. And that's the thing, a lot of education is predicated on learning something before you can do something, whereas Kerbal lets you do something and then learn something as a consequence. And so it very quickly let people develop skills which they could then see translated to, actual academic work. So I think it's basically a gateway drug to physics.
No false words were stated there. Yeah, it's the end goal. He's right.
People who have a curiosity about space exploration only have passive ways of interacting with that interest, right? It's YouTube videos, it's documentaries. This is a way for them to experience these concepts firsthand.
I would really love to bring in a broad range of just people of all ages who have even just a passing interest in rocketry, or just games where you build stuff and you're creative. And I'm all for hey, if you just want to put a bunch of fuel tanks on a thing and just light it up and crash it into something, watch the pretty explosion, that's cool too.
There's nothing about Kerbal Space Program that should stop anybody from enjoying it if they are enthusiastic about simulation games or the idea of space and space travel or being able to build cool stuff. It's important for us to get approachability right so that instead of trying this experience because of whatever it is that brought you to it and sort of feeling that you are being stopped from finding your enjoyment, that we're helping you into that experience.
Playing KSP 1 sometimes feels like you're trying to climb Mount Everest in your street clothes. KSP 2 sort of adds Sherpas and base camps. It's still the same tall mountain, it's still an insane challenge, but we're at least equipping you for success.
Kerbal Space Program is a very easy game to start because you can literally slap a couple of parts together, go to the launch pad and press a button. So the mechanics of it are not hard. What is challenging is to decide that you want to do a goal that's out in the solar system somewhere and then figure out what it's going to take to get there.
I'm most interested in people understanding concepts like the length of time it takes to travel from one place to another, the challenges in launching things into space, and understanding how gravity works, how orbits work.
Realistic space travel is stranger than most science fiction that we encounter. And there aren't too many video games that actually approach this topic as well. So this is a rather unexplored area for user experience.
I love flying. I love building planes in KSP-1. I love, high altitude planes or really acrobatic planes. But building planes, specifically building wings in KSP-1, the ways that wings attach is super not intuitive. Whereas you'd be like, I just want the wing to attach at the, at the short part, so I just make the wing bigger. That simple action is really, really frustrating in KSP-1. And so we're looking at experiences like that. We want less of just add a button to do it for me, and more make the buttons that do exist easier to understand and easier to use.
We now have several different procedural wings to choose from. These allow you to adjust the shape and size of the wings, and they also include stabilizers and control surfaces. This new capability is paired with the new VAB overlays that show the effects of those changes. So you'll see lift effects, drag effects, mass effects.
Because there's so much you can do in this game, it's like, the question is like, how do you present that to someone that doesn't know anything about rocket science?
That's my job.
They feel dumb, but really, it's the failure of the UX.
So one of the first things you'll notice has changed when you come into the new VAB is that parts are sorted in a slightly different way than they were in the original game. You're able to work on multiple sub-assemblies in parallel to one another. We have this orthographic view queue. It's much easier to do things like line up a fin or line up a booster on a radial decoupler. That's a thing that was kind of legendarily difficult to deal with in the original game, but everything's nice and clean in this presentation.
Sub-assemblies don't get
When I
grayed out.
played the
You just
first
put it over
one,
there. Better workspace.
I just hit a wall. I never got to the moon in KSP1. I had to watch Scott Manley do it. With KSP2, the first time I got through it was, I think, like day 2, when I was onboarding still, getting comfortable with the team and kind of learning the new tutorial. And we got there so much quicker.
The way I got through it was having my friend who was very, very knowledgeable and dedicated to the game and to science and space in general. Having him hold my hand and do that flight with me was what got me through. And so these tutorials are meant to sort of be that for people, to be that buddy that is riding with you.
We're not all going to have an expert sitting there with us while we're playing the game. And so having something be usable to the extent that it's like having somebody sitting next to you, it's like Johannes sitting next to you. That's really the goal when it comes to approachability with Kerbal Space Program.
In the first weeks of the project, I started making a paper version of our new tutorial. And that relies much more heavily on visual information. It relies much more heavily on showing rather than telling. Everyone's heard the word orbit. Everyone knows satellites go around the Earth. But there's actually some other things about an orbit that are not intuitive until you see them illustrated in an animation.
The goal of tutorials is to introduce concepts to the players in a fun, casual way, in a way that doesn't feel like hitting you over the head with instruction or a textbook.
So the current plan is for it to be as unobtrusive as possible. Like, you opt in to watching the tutorials. Like, you don't have to, it's sort of a reference for you, where, you know, if you're stuck, it's ever present for you to like refer to. So like, what is an orbit? There's like a playlist of
It's a great monitor.
lessons, basically.
Anybody else notice the monitor?
And so this one will play right before you get to go into orbit for the first time.
Tablet. That's really cool. See?
After I've drawn the storyboards for the script and cut it together into an animatic, I usually show the entire team. That also includes the studio head's daughter, who's 4 years old. And he loves to send me her feedback about it, whether she learned anything, how many times she watched it. She can't wait till the next one comes out. And that's always great feedback to hear. I needed the kind of educational tools that appealed to me, things that'll make me remember things. So pictures, funny pictures with words, sort of subtle bits of comedy. Like that's what makes the lesson stick.
Sandwich.
One of the most fun things about designing these tutorials with Wrath is that we've had to kind of come up with interesting visual metaphors for some fairly complicated processes. And then we came up with this idea of there being essentially these two engine concepts embodied in two Kerbals. One of whom is this big, buff, like weightlifting looking Kerbal, and the other one is this little skinny fella. And across multiple tutorials, we use these two characters to illustrate concepts like shedding spent fuel stages. As soon as we sort of began thinking of these things in terms of these two guys working together, we found that people were picking up the concept faster because it was presented in an unintimidating way.
It conveys the idea so perfectly that you need something really strong to get you up that hill, but then to go the distance, you need something that's really efficient and light. And that imagery is so perfect. I think the community are going to love those two characters.
We're teaching you the core concepts you need to be able to invent a rocket that can achieve that goal. And it's really, really important for us to preserve the distinction between those two ways of learning, right? You're not learning by rote, you're learning by doing.
We could get an entire generation of people like stoked about space, right? I've told people that I'm working on the most meaningful thing I am ever going to work on in my career.
If we can build this experience that is not only entertaining and a fairly technically accurate sim and is funny and irreverent and gives people a taste of, oh, you could spend your life exploring these things, or you could have a career doing things like this. I think that opens up doors for so many people who otherwise wouldn't even be aware that this is a possibility.
think this extra piece meant? Give me 1 second. Why no EJ in there? I don't know, because they haven't called me. They know where to find me. They know where to find me. I'm here. They know I'm here. They'll wake me when you need me. All right, so that Easter egg, it's an Easter egg at the end, and I'm not sure. Here, let's go read. Let's go read what it is, and I'll change the directory over. We'll change it over to KSP. We got some SSTOs to make. So, okay. 1 KSP2. 1 KSP2? Well, I don't know. I'm seriously saying that. I'm not trying to allude to anything. I have no idea. But I did notice something in that tutorial video. There's a couple of things that I noticed. The tutorial video has 2021 as the copyright in it. No, I don't know anything, and I swear I don't know anything. I noticed that it has 2021 in it. Also, the book behind Scott, like you said, yeah, oops.